Hi, I'm Jennifer Maggio. I'm the CEO and founder of The Life of a Single Mom. And you may think that my single parenting journey began in that hospital room oh so long ago. But actually, my single parenting journey began long before I even knew what a single parent was. You see, my mother was killed when I was only 17 months old, making my dad a single parent overnight. As you can imagine, he was devastated by the loss of his 32-year-old wife so unexpectedly, and he used alcohol and women to self-medicate to attempt to mask the pain of parenting alone. Those days were dark days as I journeyed through and watched my dad struggle. Those days also were days where I began being abused and walked through 10 years of sexual assault, and some of the things of which I endured, some of you probably couldn't even handle hearing. Those days were hard. Is it any wonder that I too became a single parent at only 17? Suffice it to say, the journey was a long and hard one, and there were lots of twists and turns along the path. But I did somehow make it. 2 small children are now adult children who are college graduates and thriving in their life, and I even snagged a husband along the way. But I never forgot that moment on the bathroom floor, and I never forgot what it was like to parent alone when you felt like you couldn't go on. And I wondered about the 22 million single moms in this country, and I wondered about how they would find their way. And then I began to think about the people along the path who helped me. And I was reminded of Miss Allie. Miss Allie was a Sunday school teacher in a local church that I just happened to stumble into because I hadn't been to church in a long time. And I found out that Miss Allie was a widow, and she had children that she was parenting alone. And she seemed to be doing a pretty good job of it. Miss Allie had warm eyes and a bright smile. And for some reason, I felt like she saw me, that she truly saw me. And through her kindness, I continued to come back to her class week after week. It was only a few months later that we celebrated Mother's Day at our church, and the pastor, in all of his loving kindness, asked all of the mothers to stand. And so I hesitantly stood, and then he took it a step further and he said, "Moms, come on down and stand on the stage," as people applauded while we walked to the front. And we stood there on the stage, and then he introduced a big basket, and that basket had corsages in it. And he said, "Husbands, come on down and pin a corsage on your wives to honor them on Mother's Day." Well, as I stood there quite awkwardly, knowing that no husband would be coming to pin a corsage on me, I wondered what I should do. I wondered if I should discreetly sit back down where people wouldn't notice me, or should I stand there and hope that no one noticed that I didn't have a corsage, or should I go and get my own corsage and pin it to myself? I stood there for what seemed like an eternity. And then Miss Allie noticed me again. And she walked to that basket, she pulled a corsage out, and she walked across that stage and she pinned one on me. Now, for some of you, you may not think that that's that big of a deal, but I can tell you that that small act of kindness changed my life. It made me know that I had a place there too. It made me know that someone saw me and saw my needs. And then there was the time when I bumped into her in the grocery store. After I had worked 12 hours that day, and I had a little infant and I had a toddler hanging on my hip, and I was attempting to grocery shop so that I could feed the kiddos for that night. And I was exhausted, and kids were doing what they do, needing their mom, and I was in near tears. And I was just shy of leaving that grocery cart full of groceries and just leaving because I was too tired to do it that night. And Miss Allie saw me, and she walked over to me, and she made small talk with me. And then she placed her hand on my hand on that buggy, and she gave me a hug. And it was the word of encouragement and the gesture that I needed to make it just one more day. My story ends with being very successful in corporate America. My story ends with my children being very successful, and ultimately having my white picket fence and my happily ever after. But I wondered who the Miss Allie was going to be for all of the other single moms that were out there when they were on that bathroom floor, whatever that bathroom floor looked like for them. And that's why I started The Life of a Single Mom almost 10 years ago. It was out of this mission and vision that no single mom, regardless of their story, should walk alone. That single mom support groups could change lives. Don't discount the gathering. Don't discount the power of women coming together and locking arms and fellowshipping and mentoring one another. Don't discount the power that rises whenever women begin to see their true value. When we get involved, we see women's lives change. We see women who had no hope begin to have hope. You see, when you impact a single mom, you impact her children. And when you impact children, you impact a nation. So join us today.